that. However, as you can see, the draft has begun. John, I do have to quickly give a huge shout out, of course, to the sponsors, LootBet, and of course Monster as well. LootBet, the official betting partner of Dota 2, Dota Summit 12, and Monster Energy, of course, for keeping us energized. John, this draft, Chen is the opening from OG.Seed, Evil Genius, starting with the AA Void. Well, OG.Seed already going into that second pick. They do grab the Sand King, which is fairly interesting. What do you think about these openings?
I think they're pretty safe. OG.Seed going for that Chen. Of course, that does mean they kind of want to pump that aggression on early. They're going to have some great sustain as they approach that mid-game, but they've got a way to control these lanes. If the Chen does get a couple of good creeps in that jungle, he can just pressure out any side lane or perhaps do an early rotation mid, which is kind of less common, but definitely a possibility. The Sand King pickup for OG.Seed as well does give him a lot more team fight. There is a bit more flexibility with that pick. You can run it on pause 4 still, although much less common. We could see it in the pause tree as well. So you've got that flexibility now for Seed. EG, with the AA Faceless Void, are much more locked in. You've got a solid support right there in the AA. Great laning presence, great damage early on. A lot of heroes you can combine it with. The Void being one of them, of course, and the Void more than likely going to be played by Artesia in the safe lane. It's a really solid hero to have, of course. You have easy setup for the Ice Blast now. And we have seen Void do a lot of work. You still have a lot of picks that can come in to really tie in with that Void as well. We could see a pause 4 that will tie in better for the team fight. Something like the Snapfire would be ideal. And it's still in the pool, so you could make that work here for EG as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked nobody's actually picked it up quite yet, but I suppose only time will tell if EG do plan to grab it now. Of course, they do also have the, well, they don't have the option. I was about to say the Rubik was still there, but it isn't. It was banned out first by OG.Seed, but Evil Geniuses, they'll go into the Earthshaker instead. Great team fight already coming out from this Dire side. It's going to be quite hard to deal with. Not to mention, of course, Chen doesn't exactly enjoy being up against the Earthshaker of all things.
Definitely not. It's going to be a bit risky for the Sand King as well. You have to ensure that the Epicenter channel, if you're going to be depending on it in these team fights, you want to make sure you're clear of the Shaker. Very easy to interrupt that spell, which means OG.Seed will probably have to wait for something like the Blink Dagger to come out, or if not, just toss that Epicenter out for a single target pickoff. It's really the best you can hope for early on against this kind of lineup from EG. I do like the Shaker, as you mentioned, ties into this team fight EG has quite nicely. It's a classic combination. We've seen EG as a team run this kind of triple hero lineup before. AA, Void, and Shaker. These are just really strong together. The Shaker can kind of interrupt the Void if you're not careful. So that's something you have to watch out for. Blocking the patting in the Chronosphere is kind of dangerous, but beyond that, solid lineup to have. Seed, they do pick up the Skywrath Mage next, and that does allow them to really just burst someone down with a Sand King for setup. So as soon as you hit level 6 on Seed's side, you can watch out for them to get those early rotations very early on, to get those early kills. With that Mage as well, you can go for something like the Legion Commander, which would be pretty useful against something like the Ench, especially once you hit 6, but it can help you lock down that Void as well if they want to go for that hero.
Yes, certainly. Of course, the Evil Geniuses side go for the Enchantress pickup. Of course, it does look like to be a core Enchantress, and we have seen a bit of that in the offlane. It's still a very potent offlane hero, especially just with that level 1 Impetus. So hard to lane against. Then of course you go into level 1 Enchant and it becomes even harder. I've got to say, I thought Evil Geniuses with their laning phase looked a little bit weaker than OG.Seed to begin with, but with this Enchant pickup, it gets me a little concerned for OG.Seed. However, they go into a Wraith King now.
Yeah, that's a really interesting pick from Seed. It does tie in with that Chen quite nicely, so you've got great push coming out for OG.Seed now. They've got the potential to melt these towers out after a team fight if you're not careful, or just toss the Chen and Wraith King in one lane and watch those objectives melt. I still have to talk about that EG Enchantress though. Just up against a Chen, it's just so potent. We've seen this as a counter pick to Chen a couple of times. If Chen goes into your lane with a couple of creeps, you can just charm one of those big creeps, and suddenly the gank is not going to go as smoothly as you'd expect. So just having that Ench actually works against the Chen quite nicely. It does go both ways as well, so if the Enchantress is playing aggressive, it's going to be a bit of an issue because Chen could just kind of pick up those creeps as well. I think it's much more important for the Chen in this case. If you're playing that core Enchantress, you're not going to be focusing on creep pickups. You're focusing on that harass.
Well, there's that last pick from OG.Seed. They go into the Void Spirit. It was left all the way through to the last pick. They won't even think about it, as Evil Geniuses will respond with the Brother of Void Spirit. The Ember comes out. Overall, both drafts have finished up. Some great teamfight potential from both sides. OG.Seed looking pretty darn good, but Evil Geniuses probably looking even better. John, these drafts, who do you think may have come ahead at the end of all this?
I do favor EG's draft a lot more. I think it's very well rounded off. All these heroes work quite well together. All of them can play nicely in that Chronosphere. I think the only hero that doesn't do as well is, of course, that Ember Spirit. But you've got this kind of lineup from EG that just comes online fairly quickly, except for the Void. The Void can take a while if you're not maximizing Chrono, but EG can get up and running fairly quick. OG.Seed come online a bit faster, especially in that laning phase. Much more potency with that Chen, with that Sand King, and the Skywrath Mage. The Wraith King and Void Spirit don't take too much farm to come online, although if they do have a rough laning phase, it can be hard to recover, so you're going to have to ensure that laning phase goes well for Seed and try to take advantage of that early power spike. But I think it's just against the lineup of EG. It's just this kind of lineup can stall that mid game, even if their laning phase goes rough. So OG.Seed have to play pretty darn good here. Like, they have to play around their timings quite well to deny EG a chance of getting up and running.
We'll see how it all pans out, as the game is about to begin. And again, this is a best of 2 round robin group stage. So BO2 between these two. But definitely have a pretty good chance themselves, right? Like, it's not just about odds here. You just never know what the strats are from either side, so you can't really judge too quickly.
Definitely. Like, we've seen, at the very least, probably not OG.Seed themselves, but we've seen all of these players go really far in tournaments before. It's just that OG.Seed, they had a pretty rough run in the close qualifiers, mainly because EU is just such a tight region for Dota 2 that it can be rough for these smaller teams to pop out still.
Well, Z-Freak gonna say hello to Artesia, or Artesia gives him a slap. Z-Freak will just run away. Having a look at that top lane as well, it really does look like a tough lane for this Void, John. Like, he's up against the Skywrath Mage, which is already going to be annoying enough, but then you've got Sibi there on the Sand King. It's a very rough laning stage for a Void.
It certainly will be, and this is something that OG.Seed does have in their draft, right? Like, their early game is going to be pretty fantastic. If they can shut down one of these big cores, it's going to take a while for EG to bounce back in. The key one is that Void. We have seen Faceless Voids get a rough start before. It takes them a while to farm up. They don't really have the fastest farm in their abilities, except for perhaps Time Walk to clear those, jump through those camps earlier, but still, pretty easy.
Gonna walk up to Z-Freak. Gonna try and go for the other Banner Rune snipe, but there is gonna be Pexu there to protect. Artesia won't be able to find anything for his trouble, so he'll just have to take a bit of harassment as he is gonna walk away. Z-Freak probably just going to chase him down, but there's a Time Walk coming out. He is, in fact, going to keep chasing him down, just to ensure he doesn't feel comfortable. And that'll be the end of that. Fly will rotate up top on the AA. And everything appears to go as per normal. Z-Freak already going for that level 1 concussive shot. That's slow going to be so frustrating for Artesia, as he's going to have to cop a few more right clicks. And well, Sibi already going for the level 1 Sandstorm as well. So he just wants to ensure that the farm's secured, wants to ensure that Artesia is going to have to be punished every time he comes in for a last hit. And you can already see the Void trying to pull away this creep wave back underneath that tier 1. But it seems that OG.Seed's intention is to make it as hard as possible for this POS 1 Void.
It's definitely going to be a hard time for Artesia either way. It's just not a very good lane matchup for him still. It's, again, something that OG.Seed will have to really maximize here.
Mid lane, Jessie up against Abbott, the Spirit Brothers. Jessie having a decent old time. Abbott, of course, keeping up very well. In fact, he's on top of the last hits board on the Ember Spirit. It does seem like it would favor the Ember to start with, just due to that Flame Guard that's available to the Ember Spirit. I guess it is still very, very even though. Like, it doesn't seem like either one can really kill each other in this mid lane unless they get a rotation or they hit level 6.
Definitely. It's a fairly even matchup. I would say that it is a bit easier in terms of cooldowns for Jessie, and he can kind of turn around with that Resonant Pulse quite nicely, so that is something you have to watch out for in that matchup.
Jessie already going to salve up Abbott, maintaining lane control for now. Of course, down at the bot lane, we'll see Peksu up against Crit on that Earthshaker. And Madera, he is there on the Wraith King. Up against Ramsey's on the Enchantress. Definitely a very, very hard lane for the Wraith King as well. Ramsey shouldn't really have too much trouble securing farm in this off lane.
Definitely not. He was copying a bit of damage early on, but level 1 is kind of Enchantress's weakest point. At level 2, you can kind of play around. Does have a nice big creep to tank as well right in front if he wants to apply some pressure.
That's pretty much what Ramsey's doing. Dara finding it difficult to even get close right now to the creep wave. Peksu, there's only so much he can help, especially because Crit is on his backside the whole time. Ramsey's, he'll just continue to control the lane. Of course, looking back up to top, Artesia still having to farm underneath that tier 1 tower. Z-Freak gonna actually go for a creep pull. Bring that back behind his own tier 1 as Fly. Gonna try and disrupt this a little bit. Concussive shot will fly out from Z-Freak. But he will eventually get away with this pull.
And that's just really going to help the cause here. Sibi can clear out the camps and have those creeps around. It's going to massively boost his progress in the laning phase.
Yeah, this is, I mean, Sibi's going to get some farm up pretty darn quick at this rate, if this keeps up. 22 last hits, 0 denies in the Sand King. He's having a great old time. Has the level 2 Sandstorm, so even if they do pull the creep wave underneath that tier 1 or just behind it, he doesn't really care. He always just rotates to the jungle, clears out creeps there instead with Sandstorm. And I suppose perhaps EG are just not that concerned about the Sand King in the first place, or there's not really much they can do anyway. But as you can see, CB again, just going to commit the Sandstorm, keep auto-attacking to ensure they stick around. Though mid lane, Jessie and Z-Freak do rotate and find Abbott on the Ember Spirit. And that'll actually, well, it won't really be first blood, but that will be the first kill of the game.
And that just gives Jessie such an easier time here down mid. It was a bit of an aggressive play from Abbott. He did see Jessie pretty low. Probably didn't expect the commit for the TP. That does cost him just a bit more in this lane.
I'm having a look back down bot. Right now, Ramsey's 24-4 on that Enchantress. Madera 17-3, really struggling to get in close again. And it's not too surprising. Every time he comes close, he's going to cop an Impetus throw. Although, there is going to be a stun from Madera. Ramsey's going to survive thanks to the Fissure of Crit. He'll just continue farming up in this lane. He does have a Fairy Fire just in case he needs it. Jessie in that mid lane actually falling very, very low on the Void Spirit again. Abbott being rather aggressive. Last time he did get punished for it. This time, guess we'll have to wait and see. Sleight of Fist, actually, Jessie! Underestimating the Sleight of Fist damage, but that was a level 3 slide, and he does end up dying.
Yeah, just small mistakes like that with these caliber of mid players, of course, something that Abbott can definitely manipulate, and of course that just counteracts that early death last time around, although there are 3 heroes down bot now for OG.Seed.
Yeah, they want to find Ramsey's with this Enchantress, though. Ramsey's immediate TP, they will not find a stun in time. The skeletons do come out, but it means nothing as Ramsey's. Oh, maybe he does come back. That's probably not a great idea as they are still around. Ramsey's very fires up, but is going to die. And he TP'd down to his tier 2 tower, feeling like he may have been safe, but he just returned a little too early. As top lane, looks like they are going to find Sibi on the Sand King now. Fly at least does get a trade on the opposing offlaner. But definitely a bit too early there from Ramsey's on the Enchantress.
Oh, definitely. It looked like a good moment for him to TP back, but ends up being punished for trying to go for a bit of a greedier play. Probably didn't expect the Sky to be sticking around there as well, so is punished for that, of course. They do manage to get that counter kill up top, and that does kind of even out the lanes. Pretty even in the game overall anyway. 6 minutes in, 2-2, less than 1k lead for AG, and pretty much all the farm being distributed equally across both teams.
Crit. They're going to try and go on Madera. Dara, of course, not level 6 yet, so doesn't have that second life. In fact, Artesia comes in with a pretty decent Chrono onto 2. They will find the Wraith King now. Peksu doesn't really have anywhere to go. And he'll make a run for it, but there's a lot of damage coming in from Ramsey's. They have the surround. He can't really juke this out. Does have a TP available, but Crit's always going to be watching with the Earthshaker. And there's the Fissure coming out. That'll be a double kill coming out for Ramsey's now as Sibby top lane does find Fly, who was left by himself. But EG, they definitely won't mind that. They'll be very happy about this rotation at bot.
Oh, definitely so. Early rotation from Artesia, but we do like seeing that. Faceless Void players, when they go around to find those early Chrono kills, does tell you that they have a really good understanding of the hero, of course, and this is Artesia, so just really good game sense coming out from him, maximizing that spell. Hopefully he does keep that up once the cooldown's down again, but EG looks to be off to a pretty decent start. Like, they lost their bot tower, but they're now set up to get a bit of a push going for themselves as well, down bot.
Yeah, they'll look to set it up. Not going to be the fastest process with the Void Earthshaker, but they'll try, as there is going to be a rotation from Sibby on the Sand King, but Crit does spot it out immediately. Gets the Fissure out. Sibby's still going to be perfectly safe, as now he has a rotation coming in from the Chen Peksu. They'll throw the Burrow Strike with the Sandstorm. Artesia does have Time Walk. They'll just walk away. Maybe they won't. Abbott does rotate in with Fly. They are smoked up. They see Sibby in the Sandstorm. You don't really have detection, though. In fact, never mind. There is a Sentry Ward underneath the tier 1, but that's going to be denied off. So how do you go after the Sand King? Remnant going to be there on Fly now. They're just going to jump the backlines, and Fly just ends up dying to Jessie.
Yeah, it's EG kind of hesitating to jump in there, kind of cost them. At the very least, they only lose their pos 5 support. Still, that was a lot of wasted time, especially for Abbott. I mean, that's time he could have been using to farm up mid just a bit more. And I'm sure OG.Seed's going to be very happy about that. They defend their tower as well. They might be able to catch someone out. No, Artesia does pull back in the end.
Jessie was stunned up in the mid lane. Abbott going to make a bit of a chase on the Ember. Slight, of course, will connect, but he doesn't have chains yet, so can't really lock this this Void Spirit down. Hexu going to rotate over now on the Chen. Are they going to try and make a play? Sibby, he does rotate in as well. They go straight after Crit on the Earthshake, and he just melts. And that's the one thing about the Void Spirit. He just does so much burst damage. You can't really avoid to get caught out like that. And Crit, he just melted to that damage.
Yeah, it looked like EG was trying to set up there. Abbott did pop his Haste Rune in the back. So it looked like EG were trying to set up that kill with Crit, but in the end are punished for it. Massive rotation from OG.Seed, just kind of holding that back once more.
Artesia try and go into Sibby. They do get another slide off. He is dusted up. Sibby still just trying to man fight here. Burrow Strike gonna be there. There's not really much else he can do, as he was dusted, so he does just go down to Artesia on the Void. Artesia back to farming. Because he is top of the net worth right now on the Void, having a great old time. It's OG.Seed. Gonna take the opposing Outpost now. We are about to approach that 10-minute mark. They weren't really able to get their own Radiant Outpost back in time, and well, there's that free XP. There's those bounty runes coming up. And a 5-5. Such an even game. And you really wouldn't assume it'd be this even considering the odds. But again, OG.Seed, you can't underestimate this team.
Definitely not. It's down to their lineup as well. Like, these guys do have a pretty strong early game. They still are there. They still have a bit of an advantage in terms of power spikes right here, although they have to be very cautious about that Chronosphere from Artesia. He's got it up and running once more. He does have Abbott nearby. They could just go for the Chrono to try to find Sibby here. So he's going to have to be a bit more cautious.
And he will. Chrono will be there in the Sandstorm. We'll reveal him, and the Ice Blast going to fly through. It'll be a very easy kill. It's just one of those things with Chrono. I mean, you always talk about this, but when it's off cooldown, just use it. Just secure a kill and get it over and done with. His mid lane. Jessie now going to make a jump onto Crit. Crit in the tree line, pretty much trapped up. Doesn't have anywhere to go but down, and he does end up dying. OG.Seed now just going to try and avoid the fight with Abbott. Or maybe they just push into Abbott, as he is still sticking around. But he is near his tier 2. I think it might be a little bit too dangerous for the moment. They do secure the tier 1 anyway.
Yeah, overall, OG.Seed is getting a bit more in terms of map control here. They have taken out 2 towers from the map. That's just going to mean EG is going to have a bit of a harder time trying to farm up, especially with that mid tower gone. That just means Abbott's not going to have any more decent access to the middle area of the map. And that is something OG.Seed can exploit. They're playing in that dire jungle now. So if EG's not going to be careful, they could get picked up here.
Madera, interestingly enough, John, rushing Aghanim Scepter, by the way, on the Wraith King. As mid lane, they are going to catch Abbott with the Remnant, and he is being silenced up. Jessie setting up a great kill for himself. And, well, with the Ancient Seal of the Skywrath Mage, it makes it very, very hard for Abbott to actually get out of these engagements once he gets caught.
Definitely. It's one of the things you really have to watch out for with that Ember Spirit, especially if you're not going for any defensive items early on. As you can see, Abbott is going straight for the crit stick, so an early crystal is out for him, which means that once he's silenced up, that's pretty much it. That's really easy setup for OG.Seed, and that is something they should look to really kind of just abuse.
Sibi again, bot lane, gonna go down. Artesia and Fly taking care of that. Artesia does already have the Maelstrom up now on the Void, so you have a lot of damage output from this Void already. Of course, Fly was just there with the follow-up Ice Blast. And Sibi, that's going to be his 4th death of the game, though. Top lane, they are going to rotate onto Crit now on that Earthshaker. Crit again, stuck in the trees. And, well, Peksu will be the one to pick up the kill, this time on the Chen. John, I've got to ask you, though, why rush the Aghanim Scepter on the Wraith King?
That's a bit of a tricky one. The stats are nice, I suppose. The build-up is not too bad. And the utility for your team is great. I think what they want is to try to avoid losing too hard in Chronospheres. That's the biggest thing I can take away from there. Like, as long as your Wraith King's around, if you die in that Chrono, you have some time to at least get a counterplay in. That's going to help the supports much more. And I think in this case, OG.Seed is relying a lot on their supports to set things up. So in that context, for a big 5v5, or if they get jumped and their supports get picked off in the back line, at the very least they can throw out the silence to keep that Ember Spirit in place, or the amplification from the Chen, or at least casting some of the Chen's sustain out before anything else can happen. So it's just super useful for OG.Seed to have. It's not the most common first item pick on the Wraith King, of course, but if they can make it work, then it's going to be hard to counteract that.
Well, that we can't disagree with, and he almost has it up. He just needs the point booster now. In fact, there's a 2k net worth lead for OG.Seed at the moment. They'll just keep controlling that Dire Jungler's mid lane. There is going to be chains being thrown out onto Jessie. Now the Chrono. Artesia again just perfectly timing it with the Ice Blast. They just burst Jessie down immediately. You saw the Hand of God fly in, but it just wasn't enough. EG now look to be aggressive. Once again, they go through the Radiant side jungle. Of course, they definitely want that mid-tier 1 tower. OG.Seed already setting up to make sure that's protected. Fly going to show himself for a little bit and throw a bit of harassment out onto Sibi. And it looks like they will get away with just protecting that tier 1 as EG. They do separate again. Not really too interested in forcing that in yet.
Yeah, EG, again, they don't have too much map control in terms of taking these objectives. Right now, OG.Seed is still having a good time. It's still fairly even, 8-8, 1k advantage for OG.Seed, but they are forcing the map to be smaller. It doesn't feel like it's been affecting EG too much, though.
Mid lane. Yeah, gets caught out, and well, with the Mystic Flare, it's a lot of damage. Sibi, he actually picks up the kill with the Burrow Strike. Artesia, they're going to come in, but he doesn't have Chrono. They got the chains off on Sibi. He's a sitting duck. The Sand King does go down, but now Fly gets caught out, and he goes down to the remnant of Jessie. It's going to make it a 10-9, but more importantly, they continue to push down this this mid-tier 2 tower, as now the Ancient Seal going to be thrown out with the concussive shot onto Abbott. Remnant will not latch. But they will not be able to protect this tier 2. Madera will go ahead and pick that up. He has the full Ags up now, and they just back off again. Just continue controlling this map.
It's going to be much harder for EG to try to take these defensive team fights now. If they're going to go for the full 5v5 with that Ags up on Wraith King, if they don't clean up the backline completely, I mean, even if they clean up that backline completely, you're still going to have that sustain problem that the Chen will give. You're still going to have that silence issue, which the Skywrath Mage will give you, and it's just going to make it a bit harder for EG to force these fights out. They can still go for those single target pickoffs, which they have been doing, and they are smoked up to try to keep that up.
Well, again, back into that mid lane. Madera going to show himself. That's the one target they don't really want to have to jump on. He'll be the one to push out that creep wave in the mid lane. Again, EG, they leave the mid lane alone. Smoke up, go down bot, see if you can find a pick off there. Unfortunately for them, OG.Seed are not really there to push out this bot wave, so they won't find a pick off either. And instead, OG.Seed, they go into the Roshan pit, and there is going to be an immediate scan out from EG as well as an Ice Blast to reveal what's going on in the pit. But do they have time to get in there as mid lane? Sibby making a jump onto Ramsey's. He's almost dead. And looks like Jessie should have the follow-up damage with the Remnant, and it's going to be more than enough. Jessie picks up another kill on the Void Spirit and OG.Seed. They should definitely be able to secure this Roshan for free now.
Definitely. Artesia's not in position to go for that defense there. They do have the Echo Slam and the Dagger up and crit. We actually haven't seen a single slam coming out from him just yet. But EG is in no position to try to contest this Roshan. It looks like Madera will just get himself a, second, third life going for himself if he does pick it up.
That he will. I love the fact that he's actually queued up a Divine Rapier as well on the Wraith King. Does that trick still work where if you die with an Ags and you TP back to the base, you still have the Divine and it'll drop in the fountain instead? Never mind that question though. There is going to be a teamfight. Z-Freak does get caught out. Artesia does have Chrono, but they don't really want to commit this into an Aegis. But back to my question, does that still work with the Aghanim Scepter Wraith King?
I believe it does. I think that should work. With the BKB build-up into that, I think that's exactly what Madara is going to be going for. So they're going to have a lot of damage on this Wraith King. It is going to be a bit of a slow build-up into the Divine itself. Like, that's going to give a lot of time for Artesia to get some farm going for himself. He already has his BKB. He's going into Mjolnir next. He's been on point with his Chronospheres. They have been waiting around for this next one, but they are playing into an Aegis and an Ags of the Wraith King, so it's going to be a bit harder to get that done, although.
They're going to jump in mid. Crit. We'll find Z-Freak. There's that Wraith King Ags coming in. Crit going to end up melting as now they chase for more. Ramsey does pick up Z-Freak eventually, but they really want to get this Enchantress. Stuns will fly out from Pex, whose creeps. There's another stun from Madara. That untouchable doing a lot of favors though. Artesia does jump in with the Chrono straight onto the Chen. They do find one. Again, the Aghanim Scepter keeping alive for now as they go for more. Ramsey's copying a fair bit of damage. He does get bursted by Jessie and Fly now. Going to be the next target. Looks like he has nowhere to go. Artesia, how do you save these supports? You don't, but he'll keep chasing. He'll keep trying to find trades as Remnant will come in, but it won't actually latch on a BKB. Is already there from Artesia now. He'll turn around onto Madara. It will be a BKB TP away as Abbott. A very nice dodge on the stun. In fact, never mind, it just flew around him. They do eventually find the Ember, but he does manage to rim it away. Still a successful team fight coming out from OG.Seed.
It's that power of the Wraith King Ags. Like, even if you kill those supports, you're still going to be silenced up by that Skywrath Mage. You're still going to get the heals out from the Chen. And even if they die afterwards, that's not the point. The point is, you expend all these big spells for the backline that doesn't die. And they get an extra 2 seconds to get the control they need to counteract EG's draft. It's a really good pickup here. It's paying off for OG.Seed. They have to maintain that momentum, though. You saw a couple of issues. They couldn't clean up Artesia, and they couldn't exactly clean up Abbott.
Oh, crit.
And that's just going to get worse.
He may be dead. Yeah, he is. He got clumsy netted up in the Sandstorm, and Z-Freak was there with the follow-up damage. Crit did manage to get that bounty rune, so at least he got something for his death. But OG.Seed going to be walking away from all this with a 6k net worth lead, 15-11 on the scoreboard. As they look to Artesia top lane, the epicenter going to be channeled up. He does get the Burrow Strike in time with the Veil of Discord. The time work was already committed, but Artesia will have another one available. Madara going to try and get in there to throw a stun out. He does get it eventually, but Artesia, do you actually lock him down? Again, the BKB will be there in time, and he'll just TP away immediately. But you just see the damage output from OG.Seed. They're just not afraid to fight into this void. As long as he doesn't have Chrono, who the hell cares? Just run at him.
Exactly. That's the one great weakness of EG's draft. They are riding off the back of that Chronosphere quite well. It's a long cooldown at all levels. You know, it's always going to take some time for EG to find that opportunity to punch right in. And OG.Seed, they're not relying on big cooldowns. I guess Epicenter's a long one, but we don't really see that used too often. They just need a Wraith King to be around, their Skywrath Mage to be around, and the Void Spirit to be around as well for additional damage, and they can run down a lane. EG, they're still trying to play it slow. They're trying to farm up, get a few more items up and running on Artesia and Abbott. They do have the Yules up on Abbott, so it's going to be much harder to lock him in with the silence.
Jessie.
Still, their high ground is being seen.
Yules on crit, Mystic Flare going to be there. He just gets destroyed. There's now AG coming up top to try and help defend this tier 3 tower. Crit yet to find an Echo Slam this game. We're 22 minutes in almost. They get a stun off on to Abbott. He does use himself up as well. He'll be fine for now. Remnant's not going to be there. In fact, Jessie will catch him with his own Remnant, and the Ancient Seal from Z-Freak not allowing him to get away. Now a stun out onto Ramsey's. They won't bother going for the Enchantress, but rather going to go for that tier 3 tower. They're already pinging out those Raxes. Straight after the range first. Artesia does have Chrono, but he's down bot farming. It looks like EG have said, don't even worry about TPing up, just keep farming, because there's no chance of us defending this Rax. They will try with Ramsey's anyway, as now Artesia does TP. Madera, though, still has the Aegis, so he's not really afraid of too much. They may get the Aegis, but he's going to get the Rax. Can they punish? Dara gets Enchant slowed up. Going to try and run his way out of this one. There's the Aegis expiring now, so if EG do want to make the jump, there's probably never been a better time, though not really anyone to jump. And they'll just leave it be.
OG.Seed just managing to get that early set of racks, really helping out their cause here. This is the strength of their lineup. We talked about it from the draft, right? With that Great King, with the Chen, these guys can just melt those towers if you're not careful, and you know, EG's not quite out of it yet. They still have a lot of things they can bring to the table. We haven't seen Crit's Shaker pull it in the team fights just yet. We haven't seen that big Echo Slam coming out, and that's always going to be a factor in that high ground defense. But as long as OG.Seed maintains this momentum, it's going to be very easy for them to keep going. Like, you have the BKB up now on Madera. So he's going straight for that Divine, and once that's up, I don't think you have any way of surviving at all if you're EG right now.
No, it doesn't seem that way, right? Like, he reincarnates, pops BKB, TPs away with Divine Rapier, and you have no way to stop him. It's an interesting strategy. I love seeing it. I guess if any team was going to run something like this, it would be OG, or rather OG.Seed. Dara, I mean, just judging by his farming pace right now, it's not going to take him too long. OG.Seed, they look to buy him space as they do smoke up, but it will be into the smoke of EG. They do get an Ancient Seal Mystic Flare. Artesia, he gets bursted immediately. Now Abbott, clumsy netted up. They have the control, or do they? He does Remnant away barely, but Jessie just jumps exactly on the same position. Remnant gonna be there to hold Ramsey's in. He's got nowhere to go as another silence comes out from Z-Freak on the Skywrath. Ramsey's gonna try and heal himself up. It'll be to no avail. And Pexu will actually give Ramses the tip as they find the kill. OG.Seed, they may just get a second Rax here.
Yeah, it's going to be a straightforward push. No buybacks for Artesia, for Abbott. They do respawn fairly quickly, but that's not going to be enough time for their towers to stay alive. It's a Wraith King, it's a Chen. They've got a lot of levels up, they've got a lot of damage up. These objectives don't even hold.
No, they don't. They'll claim the mid-racks. They won't be able to go for the Megas. There is still a tier 2 down bot, but Remnant again going to be there on crit. And this poor Earthshaker, just every time he shows his face, Jessie is on top of him. And with that second rack's gone, they won't push for any more. They'll back off. There's no real reason to rush. You've got so much control in this game. And Madera getting ever so close to that the Divine Rapier now. So once he's got that up, it just seems like EG has an impossible task ahead of them.
It's going to be rough.
They'll take their time.
They're going to be relying on Artesia. They are, right? Like, they can't do anything else but wait for Artesia and Abbott to get online. It's rather unfortunate. I think the big factor for EG is the fact that Crit just can't get up there and control these fights. They rely completely on the Chronosphere because of that, because Crit just can't jump in and let off even a single Echo Slam. Like, we've gone 26 minutes with a Shaker, and he just hasn't had that opportunity.
Remnant forward. Pexu does get caught, but Artesia got Burrow striked up and now clumsy netted up. They silence him. Do they have the damage output for Artesia? He'll walk away. Still Remnant won't latch either, but they do force out the BKB. Meanwhile, Abbott still going after Pexu. They'll find the Chen kill, but Madera, now maybe he wants to back off. Looks like he does. They don't want to fight without that Chen. So EG, 5-man rotation, they do at least get the POS 5 Chen out of it. And that'll be it. They'll take an outpost, back off to safety, back to farming. But you saw how hard even that was. Like, Peksu just seemed to last forever.
Oh yeah. Just way too much regen on the side of OG.Seed right now. At the very least, EG did not have to commit any big ultimates for that. So the Chronosphere is still up for Artesia. You've still got the slam up for crit, of course. You've got a few remnants out for Abbott, and you've still got those steals available for any big team fight that does break out, which looks like it potentially could.
Yeah, fly. Gonna be an easy pick-off. Just a burrow strike, concussive shot. Jessie has the damage, and Z-Freak will pick up the kill. Just don't know what you do if you're EG here. Like, it's just, they're so far behind right now. In fact, it's 14k net worth behind, to be exact. We'll have a look at the win probability for a second, John, and apparently they only have a 2% chance of winning this game. What can they do?
All they can do is really just take it slow, try to find the initiation they want, try to get the perfect Chronosphere, and allow crit to get some damage in. And maybe you win team fight. It's just super hard against that Ags and Wraith King early on. It's just very hard to mitigate what the supports can do, and that's the biggest issue for EG right now, is that Chen is up to heal up, Skywrath Mage is always going to be around for that added control, and as long as those factors are in play, it's always going to be hard for EG. I think the best they can hope for is to find single target pickoffs without the Wraith King around, so just finding those kills without Wraith King, but it's not an easy thing to pull off. OG is kind of clumping up in the same general area now as well, so those opportunities are very limited.
Interesting thing to note, Abbott, he doesn't appear to be going for anything to purge off that silence coming out from the Skywrath. In fact, he's going for a Maelstrom on the Ember Spirit. I don't see anything like a Lotus Orb on Ramsey or anyone else for that matter. It seems like the Ancient Seal is a huge factor in making sure Abbott can't do anything in these team fights. Yet he doesn't seem to... I mean, he's got the Yules, I get that. Is that really enough?
It's not really. Like, as long as they get something else first, or if they bait out the Yules first, which they have a couple of times, Abbott is still really vulnerable to being picked off. So there are a lot of issues here for EG to try to fix up through itemization. Still, Abbott is going for a Maelstrom first, feeling like the damage is a bit lacking, but we'll see whether or not that does pay off, as OG.Seed does go for the second Roche.
They do. Gonna be another easy Roshan EG. They won't be in position to try and counter this Roshan. Divine Rapier gonna be there on Madera as well.
Oh man.
Yeah. He's hitting for almost 600 damage per auto attack. That's not including the crit.
And on Wraith King, it's just such a safe pickup, you know? It's not risk-free, but it's definitely safer than it would be.
1.7k crit.
Yeah.
Mid lane crit. What can you do? He's trying to get some wards out, trying to help out the team, but every time he pops up on the map, he just has a target on his back, this man. They'll smoke up. OG.Seed hoping someone comes in to farm the mid lane. Artesia. Not going to take that bait. Artesia, of course, does have a Satanic up now on the Void. So you do have some more survivability potential from this Void. As Abbott now does also have the Maelstrom. He doesn't save for buyback gold, but I suppose even if he did have it, it's arguable that they're not really going to be able to make a difference with buybacks at this point. They've got to win a team fight. They would have seen that Divine Rapier available on Madera as well as the Aegis now, but it looks like they do get started. They try to go after Peksu again on the Chen. Peksu still surviving, but Artesia will chase him down as he does have Chrono available. Doesn't commit it yet. BKB being popped with Satanic. He will survive through all the damage coming in. Madera still looking for Abbott. Yule's going to be there just in the nick of time. He'll try and slight Remnant away. Peksu still being chased down here by Ramses. He will eventually end up dying as Jessie gets fly on the AA. Now they'll go after the Ember. Oh no, the Chrono Chrono. Doesn't connect on Jessie. Sibi's there with the follow-up Burrow Strike, and it looks like this game could almost be over as Echo Slam comes out from Crit. It's pretty darn big, but is it enough? Sibi falling low, not low enough, as it looks like Artesia does go down. And Crit does eventually get Jessie. And Sibi does eventually go down as well. It was just the Wraith King Ags keeping them up. That was the first Chrono, and obviously you saw how much of an effect it did have. But Madera is still pushing that bot tier 2 tower.
I mean, I'd say that's a pretty good team fight for EG. They were playing into the 2 lives on this team so far, and they did manage to find those kills they needed. They still kind of had to sacrifice their 2 big cores, and they lost their mid lane. But overall, the state of the game for EG right now is still rough, but they are showing that they can take these fights if you're not careful. It's something that OG.Seed has to always be conscious about. Even if that Chronosphere misses, as long as Artesia's positioned right, he can do a lot of damage, he can sustain himself, and he has queued up the Divine Rapier for himself now as well.
I love it. Gonna match the aggression with aggression. Artesia. It's gonna take a while. He only has about 800 gold. Just less than 800, in fact. It's going to take a bit of time, but once it's up, definitely have a little bit more of a chance of pushing this game back as EG. I mean, they're still holding on, and like you said, that last team fight, although they didn't really get Madera down, it doesn't really matter. It was still a great team fight, and it shows a sign of life in this Dire side. But OG.Seed look to go back towards that bot lane. They want to secure these megas. Dara will show himself. Still holding on to that Aegis. They know Chrono's still down for another 45. Madera going to go in, although Fissure going to be there to block from Crit. Are they jumping on Jessie? Burrow Strike going to be there from Sibi. He catches 2. Artesia does barely manage to time walk it off, and he'll chase down this Sand King now, though Artesia losing quite a bit of life, but he'll time walk away. Abbott does go down to Madera on the Wraith King. Still, they continue chasing down the Void. Artesia, in fact, wants Peksu on the Chen. Who is that? It looks like Jessie on the Void Spirit. Does get caught out. The Echo Slam being committed to ensure they get the kill. Artesia, Madera will jump in again. BKB being popped. The time walk being very, very hard for OG.Seed to control. Artesia just keeps dancing around them. They want to keep fighting Peksu. He's the main target they want on the Chen. Looks like they should be able to. The game appears to have crashed on me. I'm not exactly sure why, John. I'm going to have to restart this. John, are you still there? Alright, apparently not. I apologize about this. I'm going to restart the game ASAP. I'll be right back with you guys in just a second. Alright, and we are back into it. Looks like there is some audio issue. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'll have a look into it in just a moment. I apologize about that, as the game seems to still be going quite well for EG. Or rather, they are pushing it back. And for some reason, this audio is still off, but we might just watch the game for now, and again, I'll just have a look into it straight afterwards.
No, I think I'm here. Like, can you hear me?
EG. Just going to hold out. They'll back off again up at this top lane. It's like OG.Seed. Just maintaining that dire control. They didn't end up finding the bot racks. Mid lane. They are going to jump the Ember, and it looks like Abbott does end up going down. Z-Freak picking up the kill once again on the Skywrath Mage. OG.Seed looking to make the play down bot. Madera, he got started on the tier 3 tower though. There is a repair kit being placed on that tier 3. Ramsey's actually doing a hell of a lot of damage. Reincarnate will be there. Artesia immediately committing the Chrono with the Eyes Blast. Madera, he's going to fall quite darn low. They do try and stun him up. BKB is there. Madera, he does finally go down. He's going to have to TP out with that BKB and does do so to save the Divine, but now the Echo comes in. Crit just holding them down long enough to get Jessie on the Void Spirit. Sibi on the Sand King also going to go down. Well, that's going to be 3 down for this OG.Seed side. The EG look to continue the control on this map. And now AG, I mean, they're coming back into this. The win probability going up and up, 20% now for this dire side, and suddenly OG.Seed looking pretty weak. They are going to push down a bot Rax. And it looks like OG.Seed, of course, without any buybacks on the Wraith King, can't really defend this, nor do they have one on Jessie. EG, first racks of the game being taken, looking really good for them all of a sudden. Artesia, he does in fact get the Divine Rapier out of the quick buy, does go for the Daedalus instead.
Yeah, I like seeing that from Artesia. It's just, you know, the Divine is a bit of a double-edged sword. They are doing quite well, they just need to land these Chronos down.
EG smoking up, ready to go again. If they could win the next team fight without these buybacks being available on OG.Seed, could be close to GG's. Madara gonna spot out Artesia running near the Roshan pit. He's even finding himself a nice little leveler. It'll really help in any push attempt if they do get another chance, EG. Roshan going to be up OG.Seed, immediately running into that Roshan pit, but this time around, I don't believe EG will really allow it to just to go down this time. EG, surely you just countered this. They may not know what's happening, but it looks like they are grouping around the Roshan. Do start with the stun on Artesia. He does have BKB, but the Ancient's still going to be there. They have the control. Artesia does get the BKB off in time. He'll chase down Pexu. Still a lot of damage from Madara. He needs to time walk that off. He'll still hold on to the Chrono. They do ensnare him up for a little bit, but they won't really have the damage with the Mystic Flows. It did not connect. And OG straight back into the Roshan pit. Ice Blast gonna fly in. Still giving vision, though the Roshan is falling very, very low. They've got to jump. Fissure going to be there. Crit, does he actually steal it? He does. He gets the Aegis. He will lose it immediately, but he denies it off from the side of OG.Seed. What a play from Crit. Just taking that Aegis away. And OG.Seed now, it's going to be very hard for them to try and make this push without that Aegis being available.
under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're still going to try and make a push here with this double damage on the Wraith King. It's a hell of a crit coming out from Madera if he does land with this double damage, but it's still not going to be easy as Artesia. He has the Chrono. They do enchant slow up Madera. And, well, Ramsey with his own impetus damage quite high.
Is under attack.
They'll smoke up. Dara gets a stun off onto Ramsey's. Jessie, there with the control. They have the silence. BKB going to be popped from Ramsey's. They go straight onto Pexu, that Chen. Going to be a sitting duck to Artesia or Izzy. He survives for now. Stun will come out Madera. Pexu still surviving, though the impetus will finally get him down, but they've lost Artesia on the Void. Ramsey now going to be chased down as Jessie has the control. Should be able to find the kill, and does. Now the Remnant flying out. Artesia, he does manage to buy back just in the nick of time, and now they're going to try and turn this. He still holds on to that ultimate. He'll go onto Z-Freak for now, still not willing to commit that Chrono, but a silence will come out. Madera still chasing him down. He has Reincarnate available on the Wraith King, but eats the cheese for now. Hex is going to be there onto the Void. He'll still manage to walk away. Artesia, still no Chrono being thrown out. Sibby should go down on the Sand King, and does. There's the Reincarnated Sand King. At least he can still Burrow Strike throughout all this. The chains. Going to hold down the Wraith King. Madera gonna walk away from this as it looks like OG.Seed wish to disengage. Madera, he will get the TP out in time. In fact, everybody gets out from OG.Seed.
Is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But EG still successfully managed to hold their own base, still not getting megaed. Although OG may not matter. Artesia now going to try and force in that mid lane. OG.Seed, what's the plan here? They're just going to hug their own base for a little bit. OG.Seed again going to start moving forward. Jessie, double damage. He goes straight onto Abbott. The Chrono going to be there from Artesia. They are going to find Z-Freak on the Skywrath Mage, and they also get Pexu. Artesia going straight onto Jessie now. Mystic Flare going to be there in time thanks to that reincarnation of the Skywrath. Artesia does end up dying back on the Void. They also get the crit Earthshaker. As Ramsey's now They are going to make a jump onto the Enchantress. And it looks like the GG has been called. I realize there's audio issues right now. I'm actually going to jump off straight away and try and fix all this. I apologize for all of it. I'll be right back. We'll just get this sorted and hopefully it will not be happening again. Won't be too long.